I've seen cars die at 70,000 miles because their owner skipped this one fluid change. Not oil, not coolant, and once it's too late, you're looking at a $4,000 to $7,000 repair. I'll tell you exactly which fluid it is in a moment. But first, the others that quietly kill engines as well. Stick around because at the end, I'll reveal 5 bad maintenance habits that destroy cars even faster. At number 1, engine oil. Everybody thinks engine oil is the king of all fluids, the one you never skip. I can't exactly argue with that. Oil's your engine's blood. Without it, you've got nothing but bare metal chewing itself to pieces. I've pulled apart engines that were so starved for oil, the crankshaft journals looked like they'd been welded. That's not repairable. You're looking at a full rebuild or replacement. The thing is, people mess this up even when they do change it. They drain it cold, so sludge sticks inside. They forget the little crush washer on the drain plug, so it seeps. Or worse, they leave the old oil filter gasket stuck to the block, screw on the new filter, and blow all the oil out the first time they fire it up. And stop thinking extended intervals mean you can ignore mileage. Oil breaks down from heat, time, and contamination. Even the best synthetic isn't magic. Do it right, warm it up, drain it fully, replace the washer, check the filter seat, torque to spec. Then you'll have an engine that thanks you with every mile. But here's the thing. Oil isn't the only fluid that can wreck your engine. There's another one that's sneakier. Number 2, coolant or antifreeze. Coolant isn't just about keeping the needle out of the red on a hot day. It's your engine's temperature control, rust protection, and water pump lubricant, all in one. Ignore it, and you'll do more damage than you think. I've seen folks top off with straight tap water. Big mistake. Minerals in that water leave scale inside your radiator tubes. That scale acts like a blanket, trapping heat. In winter, that same water freezes, expands, and cracks your block. Coolant also has additives that fight corrosion. Those wear out. Leave it in too long, and it turns acidic, eating through aluminum radiators and heater cores from the inside. I've pulled radiators where the fins literally crumbled in my hand. Pro tips: use the right coolant type. Green, orange, pink, they're not interchangeable. Mixing them can cause sludge. When you drain it, open the heater to flush the core too. Bleed the system properly. Air pockets will make your engine overheat even if the radiator's full. Check all hoses for soft spots, bulges, or cracking. Replace them before they fail. Skip coolant service, and you won't just overheat. You'll cook your engine from the inside out. And speaking of cooking parts from the inside. Number 3, brake fluid. Every major car maker, Ford, GM, Mercedes, BMW, Toyota, you name it, recommends changing brake fluid about every 2 years. Most folks think that's overkill. It just sits in the reservoir, right? How can it go bad? Here's the truth. That reservoir cap isn't sealed tight like a jar of pickles. It's vented. It has to be. Otherwise, when you press the brake and the fluid moves down into the lines, a vacuum would form and the brakes would quit working. That vent lets in a little air, and with that air comes moisture. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. It loves to absorb water. New .4 fluid boils at about 450 degrees Fahrenheit. After just 2 years, tests show it's often holding 3 to 4% water. Now, the boiling point drops to around 300 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a big problem under heavy braking. When brake fluid boils, it makes vapor pockets in your lines. Next time you press the pedal, it feels spongy, or in the worst cases, it hits the floor and nothing happens. Moisture also rusts calipers, wheel cylinders, and master cylinders from the inside out. So yeah, flush it. Don't just top it up. Fresh brake fluid means strong brakes when you need them most. And while we're talking about smooth control, let's get into the fluid that keeps your steering alive. Number 4, power steering fluid. Most folks don't think about power steering fluid until their steering wheel feels heavy or their pump starts whining like a siren. By then, it's usually too late. This fluid breaks down over time, not just from heat, but from tiny wear particles. Those particles come from the hoses, seals, and pump itself. Let that stuff circulate long enough, and it'll chew up your steering rack and kill the pump. I've got a customer with over 300,000 miles on his original pump. The secret? We flush the fluid regularly. Here's how you do it right. Check your owner's manual. Some cars use dedicated PS fluid. Others, like many Hondas, use specific ATF. Get it wrong, and you'll swell the seals. Find the reservoir, often marked with a steering wheel icon. Clean around the cap before opening it. Dirt in here is death. Use a suction pump or turkey baster to remove the old fluid. Fill to the max line with fresh fluid. Start the car and turn the wheel lock to lock a few times to circulate. Repeat until the fluid stays clean. A proper flush keeps the steering smooth, the pump quiet, and the rack happy. Steering problems can be scary, sure, but they're nothing compared to the nightmare of what's coming next. This is the single fluid that's ended more cars than blown engines, bad suspensions, or electrical gremlins combined. You've heard me hint at it. Now let's talk about the one change that can save you thousands or cost you everything. Number 5, transmission fluid. If there's one fluid you should never neglect, it's your transmission fluid. This is the lifeblood of your transmission. It lubricates, cools, and allows smooth gear shifts. Miss its maintenance, and you're playing a dangerous game with one of the most expensive parts of your car. If you've always serviced it on schedule, pan dropped, filter replaced, gasket changed, fresh fluid in, keep doing it. Bright red fluid, no burnt smell, you're golden. That's the time to stick to the same program. Dropping the pan also lets you inspect it, clean the magnet, and see if there's any clutch material building up. If the fluid is brown, you're in the danger zone. The trans is still working, but the fluid's breaking down. In that case, I do a full exchange, removing the cooler line, flushing the system until it's all fresh, and making sure the unit passes a scan check before and after. But if it's black, leave it alone. That means it's been cooked, and there's metal floating in it. Fresh fluid has strong detergents that can break loose debris, sending it through the valve body and killing it faster. When you see black, it's smarter to start budgeting for a rebuild or replacement, both of which can easily cost $2,500 to $6,000. Pro tips: always check ATF warm on level ground in the correct gear position per your manual. Use exactly the fluid type specified, not close enough. Torque pan bolts to spec. Over tighten and you'll warp the pan. Change the filter every service. Clean the magnet. If it's furry with metal, wear is happening. My recommendation: don't just follow the manufacturer's lifetime or 100,000 mile claims. For most driving conditions, a fluid and filter change every 30,000 to 40,000 miles or every 3 years is far safer. If you tow, drive in heavy traffic daily, or live in a hot climate, shorten that to every 20,000 to 25,000 miles. Fresh fluid is cheap insurance compared to the cost of a rebuild. Now, let's talk about another drivetrain fluid that's often ignored until the damage is already done. Number 6, differential fluid. This one's a silent killer. Your differential is what lets your wheels spin at different speeds when you turn, and it's packed with gears and bearings living under heavy loads. Over time, that thick gear oil breaks down, loses its protective additives, and can't keep those parts properly lubricated. Let it go too long and the diff starts running hot, wearing faster, and eventually giving you that dreaded whine or howl that means it's eating itself alive. Ignore it long enough, and you're looking at a rebuild, which is not cheap. So when should you change it? Most manufacturers recommend every 30,000 to 50,000 miles for severe service, towing, off-road, heavy loads, and 60,000 to 100,000 miles for light duty. Lifetime fluid is marketing speak. If you plan to keep the car, change it at least every 60,000 miles. What about its service basics? Check your manual for the exact viscosity, often 75W90. Limited slip diffs need an additive or compatible fluid. Fill bolt usually doubles as the level check. Fluid should be right at the bottom of the hole. No drain plug? Remove the diff cover or pump the fluid out. Be ready. This is the worst smelling fluid in the whole car thanks to sulfur compounds. Refill until fresh oil just starts to trickle from the fill hole, then snug the plug. A clean diff runs cooler, lasts longer, and stays quiet. Treat it right, and you'll never hear from it, which is exactly what you want. Next up, let's go to its often overlooked cousin that keeps your AWD or 4x4 happy. Number 7. Transfer case fluid. If you drive a 4x4 or AWD, your transfer case is the middleman that splits power between the front and rear axles. Inside is a set of gears, chains, and clutches, and they all rely on a specific fluid to stay cool, lubricated, and in sync. Over time, heat, shear forces, and contamination break that fluid down. If it loses viscosity or its anti-wear additives, those parts start grinding, chains stretch, and clutches slip. The end result? Jerky engagement, loud clunks when shifting from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive, or worst of all, a seized transfer case. That's a wallet drainer. When to change it? Severe use. Towing, off-road, frequent four-wheel drive engagement, every 30,000 miles. Light use, every 60,000 to 100,000 miles. But don't trust lifetime claims. If you plan to keep the vehicle, change it before it fails. What are the service basics? Always check your manual. Some transfer cases use ATF, others use special transfer case fluid. Like the differential, you'll fill until fluid just starts trickling from the fill hole. Inspect the old fluid. If it's dark, burnt smelling, or has metallic glitter, you caught a problem early. Make sure the vent isn't clogged. A blocked vent can cause seals to blow out. Fresh transfer case fluid keeps your AWD 4x4 smooth, quiet, and ready when you need it. Neglect it, and you might just lose four-wheel drive in the middle of the trail or a snowstorm. Not a fun story to tell. Number 8. Diesel exhaust fluid. If you drive a modern diesel, chances are it has a selective catalytic reduction system. This setup uses diesel exhaust fluid, a precise mix of 32.5% urea and 67.5% deionized water, to cut nitrogen oxide emissions. Without it, your vehicle can't legally or mechanically keep running at full power. DEF is injected into the exhaust stream, where it turns into ammonia, breaking nitrogen oxide into harmless nitrogen and water vapor. The catch? DEF isn't optional. If your tank runs dry, most systems will trigger a warning, then limit engine power, and in some cases, prevent the engine from restarting until you refill. Key points to remember: storage matters, DEF degrades with heat and sunlight. It should be kept sealed and out of extreme temperatures. Shelf life is about a year if stored properly. Use only ISO 22241 compliant DEF. Contaminated fluid can damage the SCR catalyst. In cold climates, DEF can freeze at 12 degrees Fahrenheit. That's normal. Vehicles have built-in heaters to thaw it. Top-up intervals vary, but for most trucks, it's every 3,000 to 6,000 miles. Some heavy-duty rigs may need it more often under load. Run out or use bad DEF, and you're not just risking performance. You're risking being stranded with a derated engine that won't pull past a crawl. Number 9. Clutch fluid, manual transmission. If you drive a manual, your clutch relies on hydraulic pressure to engage and disengage smoothly, and that pressure comes from clutch fluid. Now here's something many drivers overlook. In most cars, clutch fluid is actually the same type of fluid as brake fluid, and it's just as important to maintain. Over time, it absorbs moisture from the air. That moisture lowers its boiling point and can lead to a spongy pedal feel, difficulty shifting, or even complete clutch failure. Think about it. Every time you press that clutch pedal, you're depending on that fluid to transmit force. If it's contaminated or low, you're going to have a bad time, especially in stop-and-go traffic or on steep hills. The fix? Check your owner's manual, locate the clutch master cylinder reservoir, and make sure the fluid is at the right level and looks clean. If it's dark or murky, it's time for a flush and refill. Regular maintenance here means smoother shifts, longer clutch life, and less chance of finding yourself stranded because your pedal went limp. Number 10. Air conditioning refrigerant. Air conditioning refrigerant is the chemical compound, commonly R134A in older cars and R1234YF in newer ones, that circulates through the AC system, absorbing heat from inside your vehicle and releasing it outside. Without enough refrigerant, your AC will blow warm air, and in some cases, the system can sustain costly damage. The refrigerant works in a closed loop, passing through components like the compressor, condenser, expansion valve, and evaporator. Ideally, you shouldn't lose refrigerant unless there's a leak. But in reality, seals can dry out, hoses can develop micro cracks, and fittings may loosen over time, letting refrigerant slowly escape. Even a small leak can lead to low pressure, causing the compressor to overwork or shut down entirely. Running the AC with too little refrigerant can overheat the compressor, and replacing that part can cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or more. Signs you might need a recharge or leak repair include warm air from the vents when AC is on, AC clutch not engaging, hissing or bubbling sounds from the system, oil stains on AC lines or components. Maintenance tip: have your AC system checked every couple of years, even if it seems fine. A professional can measure the refrigerant level and pressure, inspect for leaks with UV dye or an electronic sniffer, and ensure the system is cycling correctly. Catching a refrigerant leak early can save both your comfort and your wallet. And if you really want frosty air that feels like winter in July, click the video above. I'll show you the exact steps to make your car's AC blow twice as cold without spending a fortune at the shop. Number 11. Fuel and fuel system cleaners. Fuel often gets overlooked when we talk about fluids. Yeah, you probably think, well, I put gas or diesel in every week, so I'm good. But here's the thing. The quality of your fuel matters more than you think. And so does keeping your fuel system clean. Poor quality fuel can introduce dirt, moisture, and other contaminants into your engine. Over time, this can clog your fuel injectors, mess with combustion, and even damage the fuel pump. If you're the type to run your tank down to fumes, stop doing that. All the sediment sitting at the bottom of your tank gets sucked in, and that's a shortcut to repairs you don't want to pay for. Using a fuel system cleaner every few thousand miles can help dissolve carbon buildup and keep injectors spraying like new. It's an easy, inexpensive step that makes a big difference in performance and efficiency. Bottom line, fuel isn't just something you fill up and forget. Treat it like the lifeblood of your engine. because dirty or low-quality fuel will cost you way more in the long run. Let's wrap this up with a quick bonus for you. 5 bad maintenance habits that destroy your car even faster. If you're guilty of even one of these, you'll want to stop today. Number 5. Ignoring dashboard warning lights. Those lights aren't there for decoration. When that check engine light comes on, it's your car's way of crying for help. Ignore it, and you're gambling with expensive damage, like letting a small oil leak turn into a seized engine. Even a minor warning, like the ABS or tire pressure light, can snowball into bigger repairs if you don't act fast. Number 4. Delaying small repairs. That tiny coolant drip, that faint squeal from the belt? Waiting until it gets worse is basically sending your car a death invitation. Small issues are cheap to fix now. Wait too long, and you'll be paying for major component replacements. Cars rarely heal themselves. They only get worse when neglected. Number 3. Overloading the vehicle. Every car has a weight limit for a reason. Consistently hauling more than it's built strains your suspension, overheats your brakes, and makes your transmission work over time. You won't see the damage right away, but trust me, the wear adds up until something fails under load. Number 2. Poor tire maintenance. Driving with worn, unevenly inflated, or mismatched tires is a safety risk and a wallet drain. Bad tires cause poor fuel economy, chew up your suspension, and can even damage the drivetrain on all-wheel drive vehicles. Check pressures monthly, rotate regularly, and replace them before they hit the danger zone. And last but not least, aggressive driving. Hard launches, sudden braking, and taking corners like you're in a race might feel fun, but it's brutal on your engine, brakes, tires, and transmission. Over time, aggressive driving causes premature wear, overheats vital parts, and leaves your car feeling old before its time. Smooth, steady driving isn't just safer, it makes your car last years longer. Now that you know how to keep every vital fluid in top shape, there's one more crucial element you need. In my next video, I'll show you habits to make your car last over 500,000 miles without repairs. Click the video on screen now to discover.